Thank you, Marianne, for those very helpful comments and just giving us a snapshot on how, on the national level, the US institutes are looking at this national issue of how to attract more women and other groups that are misrepresented into the cybersecurity space. And now I'd like us to hear from someone who is, and I'll invite you in one moment, Deneen. I'd like us to hear from someone who has actually been quite active in the space of cybersecurity for 20 years as well, I believe, at least, and Deneen DeFiore. She is a Senior Vice President and a Global Chief Information Security Officer and Product Security Officer for GE Aviation. Now, to give you some context, GE is General Electric. It's one of the biggest companies in the world. It's one of the most important, most influential companies when it comes to technology, to electronics. And when you walked on campus today, did you see an airplane outside with the cyber challenge to hack the airplane? The person whose real day job it is to prevent airplanes from getting hacked is Deneen and her team. So that is a very serious responsibility. And to learn a little bit more about Deneen's vision, please help me by welcoming her to the stage. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I just want to say thank you. I'm really just privileged and honored that I was even invited to spend a few minutes with you and just share my thoughts on women in cybersecurity. It's been a great honor for that. I really appreciate it. And I love the theme of the event too, hacking the glass ceiling. That's awesome. So let's go. So just a brief kind of intro on me, right? I've been in the technology field, like was mentioned, for about 20 years. I had a lot of, I'll say, technology and business roles, and then kind of fell into cybersecurity. And that was something that I was really passionate about. It was dynamic, it was interesting. Every day that I came into work, it was something different. And I don't like when I'm bored at all. I get, if I do the same thing over and over, I lose interest. So cyber was the thing for me. And over the years, I've seen a lot of progress, not just in cyber, but in technology with women, right? So, when I started, there were not very many, and I've progressively seen more, right? And the world's changed, so that's a good thing. But every once in a while, you kind of get a little reminder that things aren't exactly the way they are. I'll tell just a funny story that happened to me when I arrived in Tel Aviv. So Sunday morning, I was going to the office to meet up with the team, right? And I was in the hotel lobby, and I was waiting for the driver to come and pick me up. And I went over to a man because he had the keys. He looked like looking around, whatever. I said, "Hi, I think you're here for me." And he goes, "No, I'm going to GE." And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to GE. I'm Deneen." And he goes, No, I'm picking up a man." And I was like, "Well, sorry about your luck, it's me." So, just kind of things like that happen, right? And you're like, "Oh, come on." But, it's just kind of the way it is. What I want to do is share with you some information that I think would give you some context of where we're at and kind of where we need to go. So back in 2016, there was a study sponsored by a couple organizations in the US. There was the Executive Women's Forum, which I'll talk about in a minute. They're an organization for women in cybersecurity, privacy, and risk. The Center for Cyber Safety and Education, Booz Allen Hamilton, and ICS Squared. They sponsored a study to gather information and understand the role and status of women in cybersecurity. And they had just under 20,000 women respond to the survey in over 170 countries. So I'm pretty sure this was the biggest survey response and study that was ever done on this topic before. So really, really relevant information. And what they found out, so I'll share the results with you. Women are globally underrepresented in the cybersecurity profession at 11%, and that's a much lower rate than in the overall global workforce. And that number has not changed to this day. So from 2016 to now, it's still the steady 11%. Globally, men are 4 times more likely to hold a C-level and executive-level positions, and 9 times more likely to hold managerial positions than women in cyber. 51% of the women in the report reported various forms of discrimination related to their role in cyber. And in 2016, women in cybersecurity earned less than men at every level. And I don't expect this has changed. I don't have data, but I'm pretty sure that it's probably not changing. It also stated that women who feel valued in the workplace benefited more from a leadership and mentoring program than women that did not, right? So some really eye-opening results, and I think some actionable results as well too. I was part of that study, and I talked to a couple of the women that were conducting it, and I really kind of hit me. So I figured we needed to do something. So I'm going to share a little bit about what we did in GE and how we're trying to move the needle, and then hopefully you can gain some insights and from my experiences, and we can kind of push the boundaries there. So in GE, what I did is similar to the other stories, right? I gathered some women that were very passionate across all the business units about cybersecurity, technology risk, and promoting STEM technology for girls in general. And we called ourselves the Wonder Women of Cyber. And we would just set out to find ways we could promote opportunities for girls and women, not external to GE and GE, to really move the needle. As part of the plan, and we heard from Miriam that you have to start at an early age. So we partnered with local middle schools where we have GE presence. GE is a big company, so there's a lot of women in different geographies and locations. So we said, here's an approach. We're going to go out to middle schools where we are and where we want to have a presence and eventually have these girls kind of move into GE careers. And we started in the community developing a program with these schools that taught basic concepts with STEM. And since January, GE volunteers have been teaching middle school girls around computer science, engineering, cybersecurity, robotics, advanced manufacturing like additive printing, and it's been a great success story. We also steered charitable giving efforts towards organizations like Girls Who Code, Code Virginia, things like that, and to educational nonprofit organizations to promote careers in STEM. We partnered with our women's network, so that's an affinity group in GE, to sponsor a women's STEM essay contest. And last year it awarded more than 50,000 scholarships to young women to, hoping to pursue careers in the STEM field. I also had a few women who kind of took things on themselves, so kind of grassroots effort. And I really think in this day and age, it has to be a grassroots effort. Each one of us has to figure out how we can individually help. In your companies or in your schools, if you have those overarching programs, that's great. But really, as you model the behavior and you show your actions, that's the cues that people pick up. And I think that's really what makes the difference. So they had a few young women who made it their goal to incorporate cybersecurity into an initiative that we have at the GE level called GE Girls. And those are camps that are sponsored throughout the summer around colleges all over the United States. And these are pretty significant colleges like Boston College, MIT, big engineering schools and things like that. They worked with the camp organizers, and they created a curriculum around cybersecurity. So they're teaching now in the camp secure coding, introduction to vulnerability management, how to basics how to defend against a cyber attack. And this course will be introduced to hundreds of girls across the nation this summer. So we're really excited and really proud about that. I'm super proud of the work we're doing with GE. It's a start, it's not enough. And I really, it's not me driving it again. It's the wonderful and beautiful women that I work with who are some of the smartest and thoughtful women, that I know. And I'm sure that you all have a networking community that will be able to do something like that themselves. And I've seen examples, in my short time here in Israel. I also wanted to let you know that our group, the Wonder Woman of Cyber in GE, also has members that are two other women who are Nazrin Razai, who's our global GE CISO, and Teresa Zielinski, who's the CISO for our GE Power business. So at GE, we have 4 senior executive level positions in cybersecurity. 3 of them are filled by women. So yeah, that's kind of unheard of. And you know, I don't know if it was on purpose or accident, but I'm going to take credit for it, right? So I'm really proud of that fact as well too. The other thing that we do is we make sure that we are not just focusing internally on GE and, you know, our communities, but also establishing an external presence. So I mentioned the Executive Women's Forum. If you're not familiar with that, it's an organization. It's the largest organization for women in cybersecurity, privacy, and risk. And it's really a forum and a platform for emerging leaders in cybersecurity, as well as senior level executives to you know, promote and nurture and establish you know, opportunities for women in cybersecurity. Again, based in the US, but I know they're open to international participation, and I know Joyce, the founder, and she would love to you know, have maybe you all kind of participate a little bit more. It's a really great organization. You know, the other thing we do with them is we partner, Nazrin, myself, and Teresa, we partner in their Lift Mentor program. So every 6 months, I'm assigned a woman randomly, you know, or actually not randomly, like based on interests and what their development needs are and what my background is, right? And we are paired up with a woman, you know, could be anywhere, any company across the membership of the EWF, and we establish a mentoring relationship. And that was directly feedback from the results of that study. And you know, it's a 6-month engagement, not a lot of time to give, but what we found is that we're not just, you know, providing the mentoring relationship, we're establishing an ongoing, you know, relationship and network that's long-lasting, and that network grows and grows and grows each time we do this. So it's really, really a positive benefit. So we're doing some good things. We need more people to get involved, so I would encourage you to think about what you can do. I'll just close with this, right? So we talked a lot about what the negative aspects of women in cybersecurity, like underrepresentation, inadequate pay, challenges in the workplace, and true, those are true. Those are realities. That's what we have to deal with. But there's also another story that we have to tell, right? And that's how many women in the field that are amazing and successful and doing great things, right? And they're satisfied by the work they're doing, and they're tremendously successful. I'm pretty sure I'm in a room full of those women right now. So thank you very much.